how did you actually get started? What was your journey at the start? What made you go in this direction, and what was sort of your first steps in working with families?
Yeah, thank you, Ben. First, I'd like to say that this is really new for me. I usually am talking with the focus on the other one. So now it's me in focus. That's pretty new. I feel that when I got your questions. I'm not used to that. I'm going into my history and why I'm here and what I'm doing here and so on. So maybe well, it's I'm 63 years old now, so a lot of things has happened in this life. I started with my education as a Diakon, a Sozialpädagoge, 4-year education, and I finished that in '84. So that's a long time ago. And my first job actually also was, as I see it today, really my very important well from where I still drink water, because I knew so little about what I was doing. So I had to learn a lot every day just to be at the job. So I started to be a group therapist without having any training in group therapy. So I had this group with 8 people, mostly 8 people who was elder than me and more experienced than me. I was 27 when I started out. So so I was pretty young, and I was supposed to do something meaningful with the people there. They were there to stop drinking. They had really heavy drinking as their problems, and they were there 24 hours for 2-3 months. So it was pretty intense, but it also it was pretty challenging to be a group therapist without any experience. So that's also why I needed to have some training, because I didn't have any training from my education. I had some workshops, but no training. So I went a bit around in the psychotherapeutic field at that time. That was Gestalt therapy and the Kemble Institute. That was actually what was there in Denmark at that time. And and the most important thing was that I met Jesper. You, as you probably all have read or experienced something about, because he's been a great inspiration for many people, and for me too. So I met him. I was at 1-week seminar about family therapy, and I really felt like coming home, and that was a place for me where I could grow and be myself more. So professionally, I needed it, but actually I needed as a husband and a father as well. I had my eldest daughter. She's now 34 years, but she was 1 year at that time, and I was challenged in all fields on this personal matter. So I really needed it. And I was, I went to this training for 3 years, was it, at that time?
That was a traditional therapist training, or that was from the Kemble Institute, the family therapy from Jesper Juhl?
Yeah, I don't know if it was traditionally, actually. There was no structure. There was no, that's how we're doing it. There was some, everything was really experimental, and this was experiential as well. You know, this, that we had to feel and sense and be in things, but it was also, we were very experimental at that time. We tried a lot of things out, and some of it was good, and a lot of it was shit, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything that stands out for you?
Yeah, that's about your boundaries, your borders. That's how to or with the defense, you know, when we talk about the defense, how to be aware of that, and how to open it from the inside, as we say it today, and how we practice it today, that we don't want to remove the defense that is needed for you at this time. Mm-hmm. That was really not important at that time. These defenses were just provoked and activated, and people got traumatized. They got psychotic from it, and you know, so
people were trying to break the boundaries.
Yeah. The therapist had to break this. That was his job. That was to break down these fences that you have built around you to survive. Yeah. So
and the change was then to have more empathy, or to allow them to be there, or.
You know, there was empathy, actually, but because I felt it also that I was seen behind my fences. That's not it, because I was. But this about who's opening the door. That's the important thing. Is it opened from the outside, or is it just torn down, or am I opening it in this way that I can do it at this time, at this moment, with you, more relational now. It was more like being an object for the therapist's exercises at that time. And that was actually what Kempler didn't want. He didn't want all these tricks. He called it tricks when we had these exercises we should do. So he was really the one that brought this perspective to Denmark, that you should be in a relation, you should be more subject. Is that so in English as well? You could talk about subject relation. Yeah. Where there's no, we don't want to do anything with anybody, but I want to be there and be myself and react to you and give you an answer that is transparent and from me to you, and you know. So he was really an inspiration in that matter, but he was you know, also pretty cruel. So empathy was not his strong side, I would say. He was, but he could do some things. He was a genius in some ways, but the problem is that he knew it himself, because so but I learned a lot from him. We had him in the weekends for families where our families were there.